everybody. Welcome to Yappy Hour. We can see our attendee count climbing and individuals are getting added to our meeting from our waiting room. So thank you all so much for signing in. I see a few names I recognize actually, so this is fun. We've got Wendy, Stacy Axelrod. I see Gina's on here. Oh my gosh, we got the whole crew tonight. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We are going to get started in just one moment. We are going to give everybody just a second to get out of the waiting room. Attendees, if you could do me a favor, there should be a hand raise function. Can y'all go ahead and raise your hands if you can hear us? All right, our ambassadors can. Cool. All right, I'm seeing those hands go up. Awesome, awesome. Thank you all so much. Looks like we did something right because everybody can hear us. All right, and our attendee count is still going. Oh, Lucille got a shout out already. Check it out. That chat box is already on. Wait, it looks like our attendee count has leveled off, so we will go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Petco Foundation's first official Foster Yappy Hour. We are so excited to be here with some of our Petco Foundation Adoption Ambassadors to talk all things fostering tonight. I want to go over a few housekeeping things before we get started and introduce our esteemed guest of panelists. I know that most of you are able to see the hand raise function. We may poll you once or twice using that function, so keep it handy, make sure you know how to access that. You will also see a poll at the bottom of your screen. We just want to know who you are. We want to know what your foster situation looks like. We want to know what your pet household is like. Go ahead and scroll over that poll button at the bottom of your screen, answer those questions and let us know who you are. You will also see a chat box at the bottom of the screen. You can chat your questions and comments in there, but the part I really want to call out is next to the poll and next to the chat, you'll see a Q&A box. In the Q&A box, you can ask questions to our adoption ambassadors. We will be taking questions live. So if you put a question in that Q&A box, there is a chance we will come to you, take your phone off of mute and ask you to ask your question to the whole group. I will say we want to make sure everybody gets something out of this call. So if it's a very specific thing about your foster, we may not get to it. The broader, the better, but we do want to hear from you. So keep those questions coming. And as an added bonus to incentivize you all to get those questions in, our friends at Bob's from Skechers have graciously given us 5 pair of Bob's from Skechers to give away during this call. If you do not know, Bob's from Skechers is a huge partner of the Petco Foundation. When you buy Bob's or Bob's apparel, a portion of those sales do come back to the Petco Foundation to help us continue our life-saving work. We are so grateful for them, and we are so excited for you all to have a chance to get some super stylish shoes to wear while you also help save lives. So anybody who asks the question in that box will be automatically entered to win, and we'll do a drawing at the end. So I think that is all of my housekeeping. So we will kick this off with Suzanne Kogut, the president of the Petco Foundation. Suzanne, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Rachel. And you guys, thank you, everyone, for being here. I am here with 5 other dogs in the background, but this is little Iggy. It's Tongue Out Tuesday for Iggy every day. He was from San Antonio Pets Alive. And I adopted, actually Iggy was, I don't often foster fail, but Iggy was one of my foster fails after being adopted twice and returned twice. And I can't even, I mean, look at this guy's face. He just stayed with me. So he's going to participate and hang out with us today. We want to, again, from all of us at the Petco Foundation, thank you guys all for whether you're fostering or adopting. Really just thank you all for doing what you do. It seems like we actually do have a lot of long-term fosters on here too, so that's good, and a lot of new fosters, but even some prospective fosters that you're thinking about it. And so one of the things to keep in mind when you're thinking about it, I got to host a lot of things, but I'm going to try to be brief because I want you guys to be able to talk with our amazing adoption ambassadors on the phone. But think about one statistic, and that's if just 2% of all pet owning households in our country foster just one animal a year, we would eliminate pet euthanasia in this country forever. So when you think about like, hey, I think I'm going to do it, we just need you to save one life. You don't have to do it every single day. Just save one, and you're going to hear some great stories about sometimes how quickly pets even get adopted. The other thing that I would always encourage everyone is, I hear a lot like, I'm not home a lot. I can't spend enough time with my foster pet. You know, listen, if you're home in the morning and you're home in the evening and you're giving them attention, then it's a great place for them to grow up, and they're going to love that so much more than if they're in a kennel in a shelter, which all of our shelter partners do fabulous work. But at the end of the day, pets want to be in homes, and you're going to give them a great start by fostering. So, and for those who are fostering right now, hey, I just want, and especially if it's your first time, I want to remind you all, it's a little bit of an unusual time for our shelter partners. So, you know, maybe sometimes if they're slower to respond than usual, or some of the services are more challenging, you know, they're having some challenges that they're facing in this crisis too. So give them a little grace, give them a little kindness. But generally, you know, I will say that we find shelter partners so awesome in helping fosters along through the process and making it just a great experience for our foster homes. So, so with that, I think maybe I'll hand it off to, actually, oh no, I was going to tell you first, because everyone's going to share about all the animals in their homes and their fosters. I was going to quickly share mine and who I have. So let me see if I can do this. Am I doing anything right, Rachel?
You're doing everything right by saving lives, Suzanne, but I do not see your screen yet. And I think that's probably what
my screen. Well, that's the, okay, here we go. Okay. Well,
still not seeing it. Is it not working?
Let me try it one other way, and then we're going to give up. Anything?
Aha, we made it. Yes, we can see it.
This is what I affectionately call my 6-pack. And that's the only 6-pack I'll probably have. And this was, despite having 6 dogs, I still was able to foster these little 3 Chihuahua puppies during the crisis that we're currently in. But they have all since gone home. And let me tell you, the experience of getting up every morning to these faces, yes, there's a little poop pickup, but still getting up to these faces is absolutely worth it. So I am now going to hand it off to, how about Orlando Kittens? Tell us about your pets and your foster experience.
Hi, my name is Lisa. This is my husband, Jeff. We foster for Pet Alliance of Greater Orlando. We've been fosters for about 5 years. We have 7 cats and 1 dog, and are currently fostering a senior cat and a mom and 7 puppies.
You can see the dog coming into the view now. She must have known we were talking about her. This is Christine.
That's awesome. All right, who is up next to introduce yourselves?
I think that's us. Hi, I'm Sam. This is Eric. This is Lucille. And this is Penelope Pig, aka Pigpen. Come on, Pen. And we've been fosters for about 6 years now, 5.5. And we have had like 90 something fosters. We've only foster failed twice and 1 hospice adoption. So our odds are pretty good. Obviously the Queen was our first foster fail. We do not have a foster right now because our last foster got adopted on Saturday, and that was our 4th foster to be adopted since the lockdown started. So they're flying off the shelves right now, guys. The hottest commodity has always been in a rescue pet, but especially right now. So we foster for a ton of different rescues in the New York City area, and we love working with different groups for, you know, different lengths of time, different types of dogs. So we just feel really lucky to be able to work with so many great groups.
And last but certainly not least.
Hi everyone, I'm Sing. This is Gary. We're the humans behind the Stumpy Brigade. This is Puff. Not sure if you guys can see her. And that's Chi on his lap. We have been fostering for, I think, over 5 years.
Yeah.
We foster for 11th Hour in North Jersey. And we also do a lot of transports, mainly for a rescue out in Freeport, Long Island called Our Best Friends Rescue. But yeah, we're really excited to be here and hopefully share some cool stories with you guys.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all again so much for being here. We have dropped our Adoption Ambassadors Instagram handles in the comment section. So make sure you check them out, give them a follow. We want to make sure that we're showing them some love. But I want to get to some Q&A. I don't know about you guys. And I see a really great question from Rachel Brink. So Rachel Brink, heads up, we are coming to you. We're going to pull you off of mute. If you don't want to ask your question, it's okay. Just don't say anything. We'll mute you again. I'll read it. But we are coming to you, and we would love for you to ask your question to our panelists. So, Rachel Brink, can you hear us? Dang it didn't work. It's not.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
Hey.
good, good. I was just wondering because we have used Petco. I'm a foster for Cat Haven in Tampa, Florida, and we've had a wonderful relationship with Petco for adoptions. So now, because of what's going on, we can't use Petco, and so I've been having meet and greets on my lanai, my screened room outside, but I'm just wondering how everybody's doing meet and greets right now for adoptions.
That is an awesome question. Thank you so much, Rachel. Sam, do you want to take this? Because you've had a couple of fosters head home.
Sure. So I think it's probably a little bit different for cats than for dogs, but I can tell you what we've been doing, and then I can tell you what I think some of the cat rescues have been doing. So we have had dogs go home from 2 different rescues who handled it a little bit differently. Both of the adopters had phone meetings with the rescue. They had their interviews as normal. They did a virtual home check. So they, did a FaceTime, and the rescue got to, see where the dog was going. And then one time we did a contactless handoff so that I got, we spoke with the adopter. We stood 6 feet apart. We both wore a face covering, and then the dog ran over, and I kind of just handed the leash over, and that was the contact that we had. The other times the rescue actually had a driver who I think who worked with the rescue, and the driver would come and open the trunk. We put the dog into the crate, secured the dog in the crate, and then the dog was transported to the adopter. So there was no physical touching. I think that's probably similar to what rescues are going to do with cats. They'll put them in a secure carrier and then put them, either on the ground or directly into a car. And then the other person can just pick up the carrier and wash their hands after, so that they're not making direct face-to-face contact, but so that the animal stays safe. And I know that a lot of rescues are also doing video meetings just like this, so that you can talk to the foster and you can see the pet and see how they interact a little bit. And then if it's a dog, usually you'll meet and they can do a little walk and meet outside.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Lisa, Jeff, and Gary, is there anything that y'all want to add to that question about how you guys are handling it?
So we haven't gone through the process yet, but we're about to with this whole litter of puppies. So what Pet Alliance is doing is virtual adoptions, basically, where you do a meet and greet, kind of like this over Zoom. And most of their current animals are currently in foster care. So a lot of people who normally wouldn't foster are fostering, which is great. But so you do a meet and greet, and then they, the potential adopter decides if they want to adopt, and then from there they get to do the application and payment online, and then they can go to the shelter and they would just pick up their animal from there. The staff would bring it out right to their car.
Awesome, thanks. All right, third and final, anything y'all want to add, or do you want to take the next question?
Well, I'm going to quickly say one other thing that, again, I would ditto everything everyone says. A lot of FaceTime going on, and we're seeing a lot of that, just showing how the pet interacts in the household. Rachel, I also want to mention that we are going to be looking at, at what point can we safely introduce adoptions back in Petco stores by trying to and still maintain the social distancing and everything. Everything got crowded for a while, so we had to pull back and everything. But we're starting to look at that now and trying to develop what is that time frame and when can we do that and how does that look too. So just want to put that out there too.
All right, and Gary, were you gonna chime in? Don't want to leave you out.
Yeah, so we know that it's very similar for 11th Hour, that they've been doing a lot of adoption meet and greets online. All the other stuff has been online, and they've been getting a lot of traffic just that way, so a lot more than usual, and it's a good thing to see. So
Awesome. Totally agree. I love the idea of doing a Zoom meet and greet with an animal. I think that's just so fun. I'd also just Zoom with an animal because why not? All right, next question. Diana Mackay, we are coming to you next, so get ready. We're getting ready to pull you off mute. Team, we used a little bit of in-group language, and we had a question about one of the terms that we used. So I'm going to let Diana tell us what she didn't understand, and we can address it. So, Diana, I believe you're unmuted.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can.
Great. I wanted to understand the term foster fail. I'm new to this, to fostering, and it's something I'd like to do. And I hear it being used, but I'm not sure I understand what it means.
Totally. That is an amazing question. Thank you so much. All right. Who is going to take this one? It's such a fun one. Sam, you want to do it?
Yeah, I think it was my fault, so it feels like I should answer it. We refer to it as a foster fail because when you take a dog into foster, the goal is always to say goodbye and get that dog adopted to somebody else, and to be the person that you know, that dog's going to live a great life and fill somebody else's family, but not yours. And so if you fail at achieving that goal and you decide to adopt your foster yourself, you somewhat proudly earn the term of foster fail. So it's not a bad thing at all, but it is technically a fail to meet your original goal of adopting a dog out. And it's definitely something that seems very difficult to avoid. I know a lot of people who say, you know, I could never foster because I would just keep all of them. I will say a few things about that if it's okay to go on a little bit of a tangent.
Have at it, please.
First things first, yes, I promise it gets easier. The more fosters you have, you will get much better at letting them go. The first one is always the hardest. But to say that, like, there will always be some who make their way into your heart a little bit more. There will be some who you are very glad to get adopted. If you like to sleep in and you have a hound who wakes up at 6 in the morning, you'll love that dog and you'll love handing it off to her new adopters who get up and run in the morning. So I think going into it with the idea that it will be hard to say goodbye, but ultimately so worth it, because you'll get to take in another foster. And then eventually when you find the exact right dog for you and you are the right home for that dog, then you can proudly join the ranks of foster fail.
I love that it's a pride point, right? Like, you earn the right to have a foster fail. I love that. That's great. Lisa, do you want to chime in here?
Sure. So regarding it being easier or, you know, difficult to send your fosters off to homes, as she mentioned, there are definitely some where, like, when you find the perfect home, you're so excited. But on a serious note, especially during kitten season, and especially in a place like Florida where kitten season is essentially all year round, the emails that come to us daily, you know, for foster requests, that's how, like, makes it easier to find those fosters homes, because then there's already like a waiting list of, you know, kittens or cats or whatever that, you know, need a foster. So that's the realistic side of it, where it just makes it easier to, you know, find them a home, and then you can take in more in need.
That's not to say we haven't failed, though. We've got a few of those. You don't get to 7 without a couple failures along the way.
So given that the 7 puppies, my advice to people who always are saying, like, I don't know how I'm not going to keep my foster, and I said, oh, this is what you do. You foster a litter of 8 puppies, and at 4 weeks old, they're adorable, and they're running around, they're sort of pooping a little. At 8 weeks old, 8 of them pooping all over, you're going to go out on the street corner and find someone to take some of those home. I'm kidding. I mean that lovingly. But if you ever, that's how you want to do it, I guarantee you'll be looking for getting them homes when you take an entire litter. What do you think about the 7 puppies? Don't you agree?
I completely agree. And I have thought in my mind of sending people pictures of what I wake up to in the morning and what I come home to from work, but I've held my cool. 1 more week and we're good.
Can't wait to post that application tonight.
That's awesome.
I mean, I love them, but you know.
Yeah, and somebody else will too. That's the beauty of it. Stephanie Brigade, do y'all have anything that you want to add? I know we started talking about foster fails, but we've sort of pivoted here to the whole idea of goodbye is the goal. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. So we've actually come really close to foster failing one of our cats that we ended up adopting out. And I think honestly, you just have to think about like, you know, there's always great homes out there, and there's these people that you meet, and we actually stay in touch with a lot of our adopters, but they just get so excited, and it's so incredible to see how happy they are, how happy the animals are. And it's really just truly like incredible for us to like pass this animal on so that they can really be a part of their own family rather than kind of like staying with us. But also to the point of like you having 8 puppies. I think last fall, we had a litter of 8 kittens that all had to be bottle fed. I think while it was really cute in the moment, after a while, we're just like, there's so much poop. Where are our doctors? There's so much poop.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, thank y'all so much. I remember following some of those kittens. Those are really, really cute. So I guess with the adorable comes the necessary.
Yeah, there's the 2 parts of it. I mean, it's still enjoyable nevertheless.
Of course. That's awesome. So, all right, that question was about what happens when you keep a pet. And we had another question come in about length of stay. So Cindy Melvin, I'm going to pull you off mute to ask your question. And I know that you first asked Suzanne this question, but I want everybody to touch on this because I think everybody, the glory of our panelists tonight is they all have like really different experiences. So Cindy Melvin, one sec.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
My question is, what is the average time a foster stays with you? And what has been the longest time a foster was with you?
Awesome question. Thanks, Cindy. All right, let's start in reverse order here. Stumpy Brigade, do y'all want to touch on average length of stay and then your max length foster?
Go.
So on average, it's probably like a few weeks to maybe a month or 2, especially because we usually have younger kittens, so they tend to go a lot faster than some of the older cats. But we have had one older cat specifically, but we've had a few older cats that we had for almost a year, or if not over a year. Yeah.
So the one that I was talking about that we almost foster failed, he was a semi-feral cat that they brought in to basically help him like stay warm in the winter. And we had him for almost 2 years. And he was a little bit of a special case because he was really scared of people. And like I said, he was like semi-feral. He wasn't really used to people. He didn't really understand like litter box and things like that. So we worked with him. And he actually transformed into such a loving cat. And so I basically said, hey, like if he doesn't find a home by Christmas, year 2, he's staying with us. And unfortunately / fortunately, he actually found a really great home. So he was a special case, but I think for the most part, most of our cats that we've taken care of and the dogs that we foster find homes within like a couple weeks.
That's awesome. Cool. And Lisa, do y'all want to touch on this one?
Sure. So typically we're fostering kittens or puppies that are too young to go up for adoption. So I usually have a pretty successful time for those kittens, puppies, finding homes for them when they're available, which is 8 weeks, 2 pounds. They can be spayed or neutered. But I have had some ones that have stayed longer, ones that have been like FELV positive, FIV, medical conditions, or a little on the hissy side. So probably our longest length of stay was 5-6 months.
Yeah, it was like some of our cases where they were just friendly enough that we thought we could work with them, and it took a lot longer than we thought.
That's awesome. Well, the payoff was huge when they finally found families. All right, Sam, what about you? What's y'all's average length of stay?
Say it depends. It's a mix. I think shortest is 1 night. Usually it's a week or 2 weeks, but it depends, especially if they have medical needs. You know, they usually wait until they're recovered, like if they've just come out of surgery or whatever. I think the longest we've had as a foster is actually Penny. We had her for 5 or 6 months as a foster before we just said
She just would not leave. So she adopted us. Yeah, I think it really depends on the animal. Puppies go pretty fast. Usually seniors may take a little bit longer. Bully breeds take a little bit longer. Big dogs take a little bit longer just because, you know, I think people who might be like first time adopters might be looking for a puppy before they realize how much work puppies are.
yeah.
And then they never want a puppy again.
I say
They only want adult dogs like we do.
I would also say it depends on where you're located. Like
Yeah.
in New York City, obviously it takes longer for a larger dog to get adopted because there's less number of people looking for something like that.
There are unfortunately also a lot of housing restrictions in the New York City area, so it's hard for bully breeds to be adopted sometimes, which is why we love to have them here. We are a no breed restrictions household, except we can't foster huskies. We are not active enough to foster huskies, we have learned.
There's always lessons that you learn along the way. Better you learn it than try and find out again.
And for for people that are considering it, I mean, you can always talk to the org too. Like, and I would also say when you said location, like, it depends on, are there a lot of animals up for adoption too? So in the South, sometimes it could take longer than other places. But I would also caution that you can talk to the org that you're thinking about fostering for, because even in the South, where maybe larger dogs may take longer, they also do transports. And a lot of times you'll find they just need like temporary fosters for 1 week before a transport or 2 weeks before a transport. So generally, you know, if there's enough animals that need foster, like the organizations will figure out how to fit you in, or you can look at, a lot of times they'll put out, this is what we expect too.
That's definitely a really good point. A lot of the time, some organizations are just looking for, you know, somebody goes out of town and they need a weekend. If you're like a little bit hesitant to commit to an open-ended foster for your first one, we've recommended to a lot of friends to do that, to sign up and say, you know, I'm a first-time foster. I'll just hang out in the Facebook group and wait until somebody needs a weekend foster, and I'll try it out and I'll see if I'm cut out for it. And I think almost all of the people who started out doing that have ended up taking longer term fosters once they got a feel for what it's like. So I think that's a great way to get involved, is to volunteer for a short term foster, and then segue into a longer term.
Maybe a permanent resident, who knows? All right, we have another question coming in from Katie Collis. I'm going to give that a shot. Katie K, we are coming your way. I apologize for messing up your name, which I'm sure I did. All right, Katie.
Hi, guys. Hi, Sam and Eric. So our question for you, seeing as you already have 2 dogs, sometimes 3, is do you have any specific tips for people who already have a dog in their home and are looking to foster?
Awesome question. Thanks so much, Katie. Sam, do you want to take this? And then I think we could like honestly speed around this. I think everybody probably has a different answer and or experience that they can share here.
We can go last if you want and pick up anything that hasn't been said.
All right, we'll do that. Then no pressure. Stumpy Brigade, you're up. Multi-pet household. What's it like and what's your advice?
We have 5 dogs and 3 cats of our own. And on the side, we foster cats mostly, but sometimes we also pick up dog fosters. I mean, it's fun and it's challenging sometimes. I think we learned really quickly that the first thing we do is we separate the animals, so the residents from the new fosters, just so that the foster animals can get a little bit more comfortable with the new environment. And then from there, give them time so that they can kind of come out of their shell a little bit. Honestly, because we have so many animals, like it's kind of like the same for us. We kind of just play with each one individually, but we try and keep the fosters and the permanent residents apart until they're ready to kind of meet each other. And it's actually a really good way to foster socialization as well, because the dogs that we get end up getting kind of like cat tested. So we know that they're okay going into a household with cats, or with our kittens or our cat fosters. We know that they'll do great in a home with dogs just because like they're so used to them. Do you want to add in?
Yeah, no. Yeah, so it kind of helps a little bit to get the new fosters used to a chaotic household, I think. So wherever they go, usually it's quieter than it is here, and they end up being better equipped to handle the new environment. So
that's awesome. I love that. Teach them skills that they don't even know they need, adjusting to a new home right away. That's great. Lisa, what about y'all?
So we have 7 cats of our own and 1 dog. So we have dedicated foster rooms, and we typically foster kittens or a mom and kittens. So it's pretty easy to keep them separated and contained. I will say with the puppies, it's been more of a challenge. They have been in their designated area, but they're basically the size of full-size cats right now. So that's been kind of difficult. So I do each night bring a couple out to kind of just hang out with them away from the whole litter. And so they are around my pets a little bit just to kind of see how they interact. But in general, because we foster so much, we just keep them separate, because then we don't have to keep introducing our pets to more new animals.
Love that. All right, last but not least, what do you got to add here?
No, I think we covered a lot of it. I think keeping the animals separate for a couple days usually works for us. We call it slow introduction. So we wait until our dogs are a little bit less frenetic at the idea of a new friend. If anybody follows us, they know that Lucy falls in love immediately upon seeing a new dog. But she's a 3-year-old, 60-pound cannonball who doesn't know how heavy her love is. So a lot of the time she will scare a dog by like staring at them and wagging her whole body, whereas Penny's like, I don't care, get it away from me. Like, you're here, cool. So they actually usually like Penny better. So what we'll do is we'll set up like an area where the dogs can feel comfortable settling in, get used to our sounds and our smells without seeing them. And then after one day, if that goes well, we take the blanket off the gate so they can see each other through the gate, but not really interact. We don't let our dogs like run up to the gate and stare as much as we can. And then if that goes well, after another day, we'll do an on-leash parallel walk. And then if that goes well, we'll let them eat in the yard with their leashes attached. And then if that goes well, we take the leashes off and let them free play. And then, we always feed separately, feed them in the crate and stuff, and they sleep separately at night. So we just go slow. And if it takes, 2 weeks to get to that point, then that's fine. We just, everybody stays safe, everybody stays happy, and especially when we can't supervise, everybody stays calm in their own area.
That's awesome.
I'm going to jump in with one last point, just because I apparently do everything different than everyone else. But I really think it depends on your pets in your household, right? Like if you know your own pets and how they're going to react, my own personal pets would probably be more aggravating if I didn't introduce them right away. So, and I have 6 dogs and it's just me. So I, number one, always try to say, hey guys, if you have something that gets along with other dogs, that would be better. But immediately I'm going to put them out in the backyard, not on a leash, and slowly introduce them to each of my, not all 6 at once, because that's a little bit overwhelming. Believe it or not, the toughest one to introduce him to is the one you saw early, Iggy, with his tongue sticking out. He's the one that's going after him. All my other big dogs, I'll slowly introduce one-on-one to see how they interact. And I will caveat all this with some shelters will say we prefer you don't have them interact. So I don't want to be telling you to disregard anything that you're told. But for me, that's the easiest thing to do, because otherwise it'll create anxiety in my own dogs. And if there's anxiety in them, it can cause anxiety in the other dog. So I'm going to get them integrated, and it usually takes me a half hour, 45 minutes.
Question live.
What was your question? Can I hear you now?
No, I'm on mute.
Sure.
Whoops. I think we accidentally brought somebody off mute, but sorry, added it back. My bad. I think that was the one that we had. Thanks for adding that, Suzanne. I think that's really important. And I think part of what you're getting at, it's you have to be the best advocate, right, for your own pets. So your resident pets, you know them best. So I think it's great that everybody sort of had a different perspective on this, but at the end of the day, I think what everybody's doing is the best thing for the pets in their home. And that's personally my takeaway. I don't know, in summary, if I may. And Suzanne, I know you kind of got interrupted there because we had somebody come off mute. Do you feel comfortable? Is there anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm just concerned. It's like, what's in your comfort zone, and you know, what do you trust your animals to do, and how do you feel comfortable in that interaction too? So I think you just have to sort of use a judgment call, and don't worry if something doesn't go perfect right away. Like, just because it doesn't go perfect right away doesn't mean, oh, they don't get along. I mean, sometimes, you know, I have a shepherd here. She's a talker. She has to put everyone in their place. She's going to go up to him, growl, and do whatever, but she owns the household. And once they know that, everything's okay. So you've got to know what the response is with your dogs, and you know, don't overthink it a little bit. Give them some time, even if it doesn't work at first.
That's really good advice. All right, I'm coming to Samantha Bryant Hagen. I believe I'm saying that right. Samantha, we saw 3 questions from you, and there was one that I would love for you to ask. It was your question number 1. So Samantha, I'm coming to you. Give it a sec. Samantha, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You want to go ahead and ask your question?
Great. Okay. So my question is, how do you go about marketing a foster that you've taken in that may have health issues or significant challenges?
Love this question. All right, quick hand raise. Ambassadors, who wants to get this? Who has a good one here, a good answer that they want to give? Well, then it looks like everybody's going to. Okay, perfect. All right, Lisa, Jeff, do y'all want to start us off here?
Sure. So, I mean, what I try to do is education, educate about the issue is the best thing. So I've had, like I said, feline leukemia fosters, FIV, heart conditions, even, the hissy ones, that's not a medical condition, but so I find that the best thing to do is be as honest and open as possible, and, try to just educate about what their current situation is and what the best home for them would be, including like future vet care, medical bills, all that's really important. So, and also just kind of always keeping a positive attitude. Like the one thing that I've thought that's never proven wrong is that there is a home for, every animal. You just, sometimes it takes time to find it.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love
if
that.
you actually if you're honest with people like that, it takes all the fear out of it. I think the biggest thing is that people don't know what a particular condition is or what it means. And once they're able to understand that and you give them all the information, it's a lot easier to make that choice to adopt.
That's great. Deputy Brigade, do you have any that you want to chat about? Any advice or specific either quirks or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there was one. So we actually have 2 examples. Sorry, we're like trying to figure out.
Yeah.
So we actually, the our most recent cat fosters, the 2 kittens, one of them was actually completely blind. So I think for us, it was really just being upfront, transparent, and making sure that the person that was adopting them understood that that was something that they have to work with. Obviously, like from the animal point of view, like they don't necessarily know that there's something wrong with them, and they don't really feel that. You know, it's kind of us projecting what we feel onto them. But yeah, no, they actually found a home together, and they're really happy.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk about
and then another one of the dogs we transported had I think it's vasculitis, which is like a
it's like an
autoimmune like skin disease that kind of messes up their face and nose a little bit.
So like she was pretty much missing like the front half of her snout, and yeah, it was she ended up being a foster fail for one of the people that we transported to. But yeah, like for her, like when we were trying to kind of promote her adoption, we really just try to be as transparent as we can. Obviously, like with her condition, like you see her in a picture and you know that she's got something, right? So it's really just explaining the fact that yes, it's autoimmune, but you know, it's something that doesn't really bother her. Again, it's not something that she kind of, you know, feels that she's at a disadvantage. It's really just us trying to make sure that the person who would be adopting her would understand, like, these are the steps that you need to take to care for her. And it's really not that different.
Yeah, so in that case specifically, once it's treated, it's pretty much like good. I think there might be some continuing treatment along the way, but otherwise there's no real difference between her and other normal dog. For other things, you know, there's different levels of treatment that you might have to do, but for the most part, once something is treated or managed, at least, there's not a whole lot extra you have to do. And that can change, but normally that's the case in our experience, at least.
Yeah. I mean, sorry to drag this on, but we also transported a dog with what's mega soft something, where they have to like actually sit up in order to eat actually absorb nutrition. So in that case, like the rescue put up a lot of money to for the animal to go through surgery. And after the surgery, it was actually really successful, where the doctor just had to feed the dog while she's kind of like sitting in a kiddie chair, like and feed her that way. Sorry, we went on a tangent.
No, that's awesome. I think it's so great to like share, and super true, right? Like all fosters are gonna have different needs, and like Lisa said, there's a home, the right home for every pet who's available for adoption. Sometimes it just takes a minute to find it. And same thing with fosters, like there's just going to be so many different options. And I think you just, again, honesty, I think, is what I've heard from both of you so far. Interested to see what Pigpen Sam has to say about it. But I think honestly, honesty seems like at this point the best policy. What do y'all think? Sam, anything you want to add there?
Don't be honest. Just say every dog is great and get them adopted right away. No, that was a joke. Don't do that.
Perfect little angel.
This dog is amazing. Never pees inside. I think just like the best thing that you can do to market your foster is take great photos, write a great bio. Sometimes it's fun to write it like from the perspective of the dog. Be like, hey, my name is Lucy and I love to sing, and like get a cute video. The more assets that you send to the rescue for them to post on their social media and on Pet Finder is gonna only help their case. And I think like sometimes trying to put like every single thing about the dog in their bio can be a little bit like daunting. It's good to, you know, say like May needs a little bit of time to warm up, you know, might be a little shy at first, and then if somebody's interested, you can talk to them one-on-one and sort of explain exactly what that means, rather than say like doesn't like strangers in the bio. So I think like framing things positively will really help people to just get a good sense of the dog without being like scared off at first. And maybe once they talk to you and they hear how you've worked through those issues, they would be all in for their new family member. So just be positive, take great photos.
And I do have to use this opportunity to plug an additional webinar. It will be available to register for on our website tonight. And that webinar is next Tuesday. It's all about marketing your foster pet. And you get to hear from some professional photographers and a couple of leaders of animal welfare organizations who can tell you a little bit more specifically about marketing your foster pet. So save the date, next Tuesday, 1:30 Central Time. Mark your calendars, but you'll get an email reminder, don't you worry. I
And
want to ask a
also for the
question.
people that have have foster pets with behavioral issues, we did some great webinars with our Petco dog trainers, Victoria Stillwell, or cats, with Jackson Galaxy, so they could give you some behavior tips to try to change any behaviors that you're struggling with.
Hard sell there, petcofoundation.org/foster. Very easy to remember, but you can see the links to all of those there as well. I want to ask a question because you three adoption ambassadors, we're looking at you all in pairs. So give us a little bit of insight into who started first. Was the whole household always on board for fostering? And what did that process look like? This is a Rachel question. I'm genuinely curious. So who wants to take it? Yeah.
He'll go. He'll explain on behalf of us.
All right, Scummy Brigade, y'all want to start? Perfect. Let's do it.
So we're both animal lovers.
Yeah.
But we didn't start out with the goal of adopting 8 pets, obviously. So that kind of happened along the way. And yeah, she's usually the instigator with our adoptions. It's just part of the relationship, I guess, and just one person is usually the one finds the animals, and the other person is the one that either needs some convincing or needs to at least see, and then you can both get on board. We both actively transport. We both help take care of all of our fosters, and we're both pretty heavily involved in the process as we go along.
Yeah,
now.
I think at the end of the day, it's a mutual decision. It's not just like me finding kittens out in the parking lot and bringing them back. I mean, if I do that, they become fosters and they actually find great homes. But I grew up in the city, and I was pretty much taught, if you need a dog, if you want a dog, you kind of just go out to the store and buy it. And he was the one that introduced me to the whole world of rescuing, which I think blew up a little bit, just because I'm like, oh my goodness, there's all these beautiful, cute animals, and I kind of want them all. And that's, I think, what prompted us to foster in the first place. Is obviously we can't have all these animals, and they deserve great homes for themselves. So that's kind of what got us there. But yeah, it's a mutual decision. You should talk about it. You should go through the pros and cons and understand what are the things that you can take on versus what you can't. But yeah.
Just to be clear, Rachel's asking this so she can share the recording with her husband. I just want to be clear of the purpose.
I'm gonna grab him. I'm hoping he's tuned in downstairs. I really think that this is our moment, you guys. So make sure you answer this one right. That's a great answer. Thanks y'all so much. What about you, Lisa and Jeff? What was your experience? Did somebody start and then the other one was brought along for the ride? What'd that look like for you guys?
So when we first started dating, Lisa said the limit was 2 cats. And then when we had 4, she said, I meant 2 per person. And then I don't know when that went out the window, but somehow we have 7 cats and a dog. And when we moved to Orlando, we started fostering, and it was kind of by chance. We were already volunteering at the shelter, and it was about 10 minutes to closing, and the shelter manager walked in with a giant carrier, and I kind of jokingly said, well, what are you doing with a dog in here? And she said, hold on, come back here and take a look. And it was a mom and some very young kittens, about a day old. And she said that they didn't have any fosters lined up. We had no idea what we were doing, and quickly said, yeah, sure, we'll do it. What does it mean? Let's take them home. And never really looked back. There was a lot of frantic emails and calls those first few weeks with that litter, and more along the way. But eventually we got to where we are now, where, we take puppies, we take kittens, we take older cats, kind of, whatever the need is. So.
Now we've graduated to taking turns cleaning up the puppy poop. So that's how you know you've made it.
It's a working relationship.
That's amazing. Thanks, y'all. All right, Sam, Eric, I saw you guys making eyes over there, so I can't wait to hear this answer, I gotta be honest.
I just want to say before he says anything that we have by far the fewest number of animals of anyone on this call. And I just think that maybe we could have a couple more animals.
So when we started dating, I was living with some roommates who had cats, but she is extremely deathly allergic to cats. So that's why we haven't fostered any since. But we've talked about eventually her getting allergy shots, but we'll see what happens. But when we started dating,
What's the question?
it is one of the answers. We started dating, and I was looking into getting a dog, and she really got into it. And I think the same thing that Stumpy Brigade mentioned, we were looking at like getting a dog from a store or something, and I think through that we kind of stumbled upon fostering and said, why don't we kind of start fostering before we jump into adopting? And 7 years later, we're here.
I'm not going to call that revisionist history, but it was similar. I saw some threads.
That's how I remember it.
No, it's close. It's close. Yeah, he said he was getting a dog, but I don't actually think meant that he was getting a dog. He just wanted me to come over. So I took that very literally, and I started going through Pet Finder like every day and sending him emails full of like 10 to 20 dogs to adopt every single day, to which he never responded, but kept dating me, I guess. And then I was working at a job, and I was looking at Pet Finder all day, and I noticed that a lot of the dogs were in foster homes, and I didn't really know what that meant. So I did a little bit of research, and that's actually how I found out that fostering was a thing. We started volunteering at a live-in shelter like on the weekends together, and then I ended up quitting that job, going back to school. I had a ton of time, and I was like, well, I'm gonna start fostering. And he was like, yeah, me too, I'm gonna help. And then after about like 6 months of that, we moved in together, and we fostered a bunch more dogs. We adopted a dog, we fostered more dogs, and every day I still send him emails full of dogs that we could foster or adopt. And he mostly doesn't answer me, but if I say like, hey, I told the rescue we could take this dog, then he says, okay.
You're wearing him down, that's good.
Yeah. There's a strategy to this. If you're getting anything, there's definitely a strategy. You got to know your pets, be their advocates, and then also know your partner and
Wear
know
them
how
down.
to just be smarter. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a foot in the door, right? Like you send an email with like a 3-year-old Great Dane, and then when he says no to that, you're like, oh, but what if we just took this 11-year-old Chihuahua? It's so small, you won't even see it. And then he's like, well, it's not a Great Dane. All right.
Send it over.
You just work your way up to like 3 or 4 Chihuahuas and a little terrier, and then you got 3 dogs. You got 3 pit bulls. There you go.
It's like the foster math. I love this. Like I want to like see this on a chart. I think that's hysterical. That's so funny. Okay, we have 6 minutes left, and ambassadors, I'm going to give you this 6 minutes. I need 2 minutes at the end though to pick a winner for our Bobs from Skechers giveaway. But anything that you want to add about fostering, whether it's your best advice, whether it's your favorite foster memory, what you want to tell people on this call, whatever kind of like elevator pitch you want to leave the people with and impart wisdom. I know that's a loaded question, but I just want to give you the opportunity to kind of add anything you didn't get to add at this time. So show of hands, is anybody like totally ready to answer that? And then, yeah, okay, cool. Stumpy Brigade, why don't y'all start? That's great.
I'm throwing him under the bus. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think the one thing that's important to remember is if you're thinking about fostering, just to give it a try, take it slow. There's plenty of people in the rescue that are gonna be more than happy to help you. We've asked tons of questions to our cat guru that runs the cat rescue side, and she's helped us with bottle feeding and all kinds of other things. You'll pick up stuff along the way as you go, and everyone starts out with probably next to no knowledge at some point, and they learn as they go and get better at it. So that's just the best thing you can do to start, is just just the start, I guess.
Yeah, and if you love animals, this is like the perfect opportunity to kind of start, especially when there's hesitation in terms of like, oh, like I really want an animal, but I'm not up for a long-term commitment. That's okay. This is like a short-term commitment. Plus, you get your foot in the door, and you know, you never know, you might end up like one of us.
That's awesome. I love that advice. Best advice is just to start. That's great. Thanks, y'all. All right. Lisa, Jeff, what do y'all think? What's your final imparting wisdom here?
I'd say if you want to foster and you're just unsure about your schedule, there's many opportunities. We both work full time and have a 1-hour commute, so we're gone a lot during the day. But so, you know, most people think that the only opportunities for fostering are like bottle baby kittens or things like that. But there's a lot of opportunities such as, you know, senior pets or, you know, wean kittens, moms, dogs or cats with puppies, kittens. So there's something for everyone, no matter what your schedule is.
Yeah, just dive in. You know, pick something that fits your schedule and do it. You won't know you can do it until you do.
Oh, there's the puppies. They're so cute. I love that. I love that it's Orlando Kittens and they're the ones that brought the puppies to the college.
Confusing a lot of people.
My favorite thing in the entire world. All right, what about y'all, Sam and Eric? Any final advice or wisdom you want to share?
I think just that you know, be specific with the rescue and like what you feel comfortable.
Okay, I have lost Sam. Has anyone else lost her? Panelists, looks like it. Okay, we'll wait.
I think your dog figured out how to unplug the computer finally.
I think you're right. All right, we will let Sam know that if she is able to unfreeze and come back on, we'll take her. But Suzanne, I know you're going to have some really great wisdom here for guests. So what do you have to say?
So I think I agree with everything that everyone said. I hadn't owned a pet and got a pet, and then my next two became fosters. And then I fostered a mom and a litter of puppies, and I was a lawyer in DC working, and that mom and that litter of puppies changed my entire life and my entire career. And never did I ever expect that just fostering one mama dog and her puppies would bring me to where I am today. I've probably fostered over 500. I never in a million years expected to own 6 dogs like everyone said. And now I have the best career, and my life is dedicated to saving animals. So you never know what'll happen. And now you guys are influencers because you guys started fostering and you're sharing everything with the world and you're changing the world. So just amazing things can happen.
Awesome. Thanks, Suzanne. And Sam, you made it back to us. We lost you in the middle of your parting wisdom to us.
I know. Our penny network decided not to work, and if that's not the most penny thing that could happen, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's exactly what Jeff said. He's like, I think the dog figured out how to unplug everything.
Yeah, they're hungry. They want us to stop talking and feed them.
That's awesome.
So I don't know what we said, but I would just say, like, find a rescue that you like working with. Be specific about, you know, if you have travel coming up or if you're not comfortable taking a big dog, start, you know, with what you're comfortable with and work your way up. But that said, be open-minded. Listen to the rescue if they say, you know, this dog might be a little bit bigger than what you thought, but they're calm, and, you know, just ease in, stand up for yourself, but be open-minded, and you'll find the right fit. And eventually you will wear down the person who doesn't want to let you bring all the dogs home if you try hard enough.
That's amazing. I love that. Well, thank you all so much for your time. Our final thing that we have to do tonight, super exciting, but we had 75 questions in the Q&A tonight. So we've got 5 pair of bobs. We got to decide who they go to. So Victoria, do you want to pop back on video here and pull out your handy dandy Bob's tote? Perfect. We have a Petco Foundation Bob's tote. Victoria has been writing down every single name of every single person who has asked a question. She's going to pull them out. Victoria, why don't you read us those names? If your name has been read, do not worry. We have your email address. we will find you. We will make sure you get your bobs and your Petco Foundation swag. So who's our first winner?
First winner is Joy Atkins. Joy.
Joy. All
We will
right,
be
we got
coming
Joy
at you for
Atkins.
those bobs. All righty. Next, we have Diana McKay. Sorry, my dogs are also squeaking on the call. There's those squeakers in the background. Next, we have Beverly Wilson. Yay! Let's see, who else?
Those speakers actually sound like a round of applause. That's awesome.
Okay, next we have Erica Lovechick, I think, possibly.
We will find it.
Erica, we'll find you. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name.
Okay, last but not least, our fifth bob winner of the night
is Beth Gilchrist.
Perfect.
Beth Gilchrist.
Congrats, Beth.
Congrats, y'all.
Thanks for doing that, Victoria. And thank you all so much for asking your questions. We had so many that we did not get to. So what that tells me is we just got to do another one of these things. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on your email. Hopefully we'll grab some adoption ambassadors and do another Yappy hour. We loved hearing from you all. We truly appreciate your time. We truly appreciate you adopting and fostering and stepping up to save lives. We're so grateful for all you do and hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks y'all so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks, ambassadors. Y'all are the best. Bye.